And this next guy, he's the co-producer of this show. He's my best friend. Make some noise for Joe Perrow.
Make some noise for Sam. Thank you very much for coming out to our show, The Sauce. It's nice to be out, isn't it? It just feels good. I'm 13 months at home. I miss the little things, you know? The things you forget about, smiling at a stranger. I forgot how much I loved New York City bathrooms. Just like at a dive bar, those small, dingy, wet portals to the underworld. There's standing water on the ground, the faint smell of rust from the old pipes, and then just a culture of cocaine-fueled chlamydia on the sink. I love it. The smaller the better for me. Let's pack it, because it's weird. It's so strange in there. I remember at a bar one time, a guy came in behind me to pee next to me, and he had to give himself a pep talk before he could pee. Like, I'm drunk doing my thing, and I hear him behind me like, all right, you're going to go up there. That guy's already peeing there, so don't talk to him and don't look him in the eye, because if you talk to him, your mouth's going to be open, his dick's going to be out, his dick's going to get in your mouth. And that's how you get gay. I'm not shy in a bad. I don't care. It doesn't. I think it's because I was raised a Cleveland Browns fan. And when I was 6 years old, my dad took me to my first ever Browns game. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in an old stadium before, but they didn't used to have urinals in the men's rooms. They had what is affectionately known as a trough. All right. For the women who aren't familiar with this concept, a trough is a giant bathtub that they stick in the middle of the room so that 20 drunk men can stand in a shame circle peeing at each other. Now, think back to about how tall you were when you were 6 years old. That is a face full of phallus that I'll never forget. It's just 3.5 foot me, like leaning back, trying to arc it over, looking up at my dad, like, this is so inappropriate. Why couldn't we use a stall? But this is better than watching the Browns. I get it. It's not the worst thing that you made me look at today. I feel like we're never going to, keep having the gun debate in this country. I think that's just a constant. I don't know. I used to live in the South, and I loved hearing it down there because people who are pro-gun, they always have the same argument. You got to have guns for protection, right? You got to have a gun to protect your house and your family, right? But I think if guns are here for self-defense, hear me out on this. What if we get rid of all the guns and give everybody free karate lessons instead? I feel like that's a great solution. I don't think it actually stops any of the violence, but it makes it a lot more palatable. Like, instead of a workplace shooting, it's just a workplace Royal Rumble or something like that. The news is on the scene, a reporter's like, behind me, the site of one of the most violent tragedies in recent American history. A grown man came into his office and punched 26 co-workers in the face. We have an eyewitness. Ma'am, what happened in there? Yeah, he came in with fists blazing. He was punching people left and right. Oh my God, I tried. I got under my desk, but he came over and karate chopped it right in half. There was nowhere to hide. Well, that sounds horrific. I guess the only way to stop a bad guy with a black belt is a good guy with a second-degree black belt. Back to you in the studio. People only ever have opinions about the first two amendments of the Constitution. Have you ever noticed? Whenever we have like some sort of amendment debate, it's always First Amendment, Second Amendment. That's it. There's like 30 amendments. We never get past. We can't even get to the Third Amendment protest. That's a lot of fun. You guys, the Third Amendment is no quartering soldiers. How about that one? Just a father in Iowa who wants his son to move out of the house. God damn it, Billy, you got an ROTC scholarship. Get the fuck out of the basement, man. It's in the Constitution. I liked the Eighth Amendment. That was always my favorite one growing up. The Eighth Amendment is the one that says no cruel and unusual punishment. No cruel and unusual, very specific verbiage that they selected for that one. The cruel makes sense, but why did they have to fork in? That wasn't on the first draft. They weren't. They weren't like writing it up and James Madison was just riffing. All right, Cruel and Unusual. We're putting that. Both of those are. No, I think it was just Pete from Rhode Island coming up with weird suggestions for how to torture people. Just a guy in the back of the room like, what if we tickle them until they can't breathe anymore? Wouldn't that be crazy? Pete, what the fuck, man? That's... No. We're not... One more outburst like that and you're going to be part of Connecticut. Oh, excuse me. All right, if we're going to have a new country with slavery and women can't vote, I thought we could just have a little bit of fun, but no. And that's why Rhode Island didn't have anyone sign the Constitution. I don't know if you knew that or not, but that's a history fact that you just learned today. Everyone in my family thinks that I'm well-read. They think I'm a reader, which is it's a nice compliment to have about somebody, but it's also a curse around Christmas time. Because that means every year I get to open 6 homework assignments from my closest relatives. Well, Joe, we thought you would love this 800-page book about the years in between the world wars. What? That's the boring part. Because if someone gives you a gift, right, you want to use the gift and then report back, let them know. But in this case, I have to write a book report. Your gift comes with an essay. That's fucked up. I don't want to... My mom gave me a self-help book for Christmas this year. Whew, that is a gut punch to the self-esteem right there. Hey, we noticed your life's pretty fucked up, so here, we all pitched in $16. We'd love it if you fixed all of your problems on your own. We're not going to help you at all with that. I like self-help books. I think that's a good thing. I think you should, strive to be a better person, read a self-help book. But I'm a little self-conscious about it, other than speaking openly in public about it. But you won't catch me reading a self-help book. And have you ever seen these confident monsters in society? I saw a guy sit down on the train the other day with the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a bright orange book, and in big, bold, black letters, it says, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I walked over to him, I was like, hey man, you don't need that book. You have already mastered the obvious art of not giving a fuck. I don't read that much. I do watch a lot of documentaries, which I think is the same thing. We can agree to that, right? It's like reading. I think watching a Netflix documentary is the modern day equivalent of reading a book on vacation last summer. It's like what used to take you a week at the beach now just takes you 46 minutes on your couch to become a pretentious asshole about nothing. I like how you watch TV and you learn something. That's fascinating to me. I get to be lazy and pretend like I'm smarter. It's great. I like when they teach you something about the story that you didn't know. That's kind of, that's what they're there for. There was like the Ted Bundy documentary. My girlfriend and I watched it over quarantine. And we got to the end and we were both like sitting there talking about it. We're like, wow, it's like pretty amazing that Ted Bundy guy, he was like really charming and charismatic. You know how he defended himself in court and he was really good at picking up women? Boy, I feel like we missed the message on this one. I think... But that's what they bury the lead. That's what a documentary is about, right? You got to learn something new about this. We also watched the Michael Jackson one, and it's tough if you haven't seen it. The Michael Jackson one's really tough. But like that's kind of how Michael Jackson is getting known now, right? Is like that's his past, is what he did with kids. That's rough. But that means in the future there's going to be a new documentary that my unborn son is going to get to watch, and he's going to be like, "Oh my God, Dad, I just watched that documentary about serial child molester Michael Jackson. He was actually an incredible musician. Wow." And then I'll say, "Son, you're going to want to sit down for this next part." Because when he was a child, he was black. And then his head explodes. I've run out of the documentaries on Netflix. I watch Amazon Prime documentaries. Oof, that's. I think that is the bottom of the barrel. They're like, we can't get a deal. They're like, fucking, this isn't why even people are even paying for this service. They just want shit to their house. We'll throw on whatever. I watched one about the Lincoln Center the other day, and it's pretty cool. Lincoln Center is a very famous place in New York. When I learned that New York City is one of 47 cities in the United States to have a theater named after President Abraham Lincoln, which I feel like is a pretty fucked up way to honor his legacy, if I'm being perfectly honest about it. Arguably the greatest president of all time, assassinated in a theater, and then 47 cities had a meeting where someone stood up and was like, yeah, I mean, we could build a statue, but you know what would be hilarious? I feel like having a Lincoln Theater in your town is like if Cadillac came out with a new model car called the Kennedy Convertible. And they'd hit you with the tagline at the end of the commercial, the Kennedy Convertible, so luxurious it'll blow your mind. All over your wife's face. Guys, I'm Joe. This has been fantastic. Thank you for coming out.